part of the bicentenary celebrations, we have commissioned a choral symphony, and this afternoon we'll have the opportunity of listening to part of that symphony. The words by Dr. Graham Davis and the music by Noddwr Brenhinol. I hope you enjoy this initial rendering of Graddau with God. Cynulliad inheritance, the press, will be developed, and I have great pleasure in presenting you a new Cynulliad Press initiative that will be taken forward, hopefully for generations to come. Your Royal Highness, it gives me great pleasure to present all of you.
Within the university at the Wales Academy of yes, that's it. I'll hopefully get a job.
George IV, by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, King, Defender of the Faith, to all to whom these presents shall come, greeting. Whereas the majority of persons for holy orders in South Wales are unable by reason of the expense to pursue their studies in the English universities, and whereas by indenture of bargain and sale, dated in the month of August 1822, and made between John Scanford Harford and the Right Reverend Father in God by divine permission, in consideration of the sum of £100 for certain freehold lands at Lampeter in the county of Cardigan in the Diocese of St David's, to our said Thomas Burgess, to the intent that the same might be held in trust for the benefit of a proposed college for the education of scholars, and should be established and incorporated by our Royal Charter. And we do by these presents, for us, our heirs and successors, declare and establish
that the principal, tutors and professors of the said college and their successors forever shall be one body politic and corporate indeed, and in the name and style of St. David's College. And lastly, we do also for us, our heirs and successors, grant and declare that these our letters patent on the enrolment or the exemplification thereof shall be granted for the most favourable and beneficial sense and for the best advantage of the said college. In witness whereof, we have caused these our letters to be made patent, witnessed ourselves at our palace at Westminster on the 6th day of February in the 9th year of our reign. Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of our other realms and territories, Queen, Head of the Commonwealth, Defender of the Faith. Whereas His Majesty King George IV did by Royal Charter establish a perpetual college at Lampeter, and whereas the Council of Trinity University College, Swansea Metropolitan University, did so request to be incorporated into our charter corporation, created by the founding charter, it shall henceforth be known as the University of Wales, Trinity St David, or in Welsh, y Drindod Dewi Sant. The objects of the university shall, by its Christian Anglican tradition and its support of bilingualism, secure future opportunities for the people of Wales and contribute to the spiritual, cultural, social, environmental values of the country. Our royal will and pleasure is that this, our supplemental charter, shall ever be construed benevolently and in every case most favourably to the university and to the promotion of its objects, by warrant and command of Her Majesty the Queen. Noddwr Brenhinol, mae'n fraint arbennig I mi fel is-gynghellor gael eich croesawu chi yma. It is a great pleasure for me, Your Royal Highness, to welcome you here to the university. We are indebted to you, sir, for making time to join us today, as we mark the bicentenary of this institution, where higher education began in Wales. 200 years of lifelong learning, 200 years of continual opportunity for the people of Wales. It is a great opportunity to celebrate. But also, sir, if I may take the opportunity as Vice-Chancellor, to celebrate the specific contribution that you have made over the years as Chancellor and Royal Patron. Nobody knows more than I do of the support you have given to this institution, the loyalty, the focused engagement, and the way you have supported the institution over the years. We had a privilege as a university to publish your speeches and articles. And as we did that, I also had the opportunity in the preface to note the transformational leadership that you have done across so many domains. The voice of the Prince of Wales, as I noted then, as I do now, is a voice that must be heard. It is our privilege, sir, to welcome you and also to thank you for your contribution. Diolch I chi am eich cyfraniad. We are here to celebrate 200 years of tradition, but we are also here to establish for the future. And it gives me great pleasure as we announce today the development of the new Confederal University of Wales, with new technical university institutes that will join this confederation, focusing upon higher skills, on technical knowledge and on innovation. Our focus is on a sustainable future for Wales, and within this new Confederal University that places Wales first, we will do that as a new confederal structure, inviting several new colleges, the Neath Port Talbot group of colleges, Cardiff and the Vale, Pembrokeshire College, Sir Gar and Ceredigion, and other national institutions will join your university, sir. A university that focuses upon sustainable development and securing a future for Wales. It is our great pleasure to welcome you. We celebrate 200 years where the original foundation was laid. But today, we focus on the foundation for another 100 years and making sure that Wales will continue to be served by the University of Wales, Trinity St David. Croeso cynnes iawn i chi, sir.
Your Royal Highness, having moved from England at the age of 4, Emma grew up in West Wales and learnt Welsh at both primary and secondary school, and her parents still live locally. We therefore celebrate her strong connections and her clear links to West Wales. After finishing A-levels, Emma moved to Oxford in 1989 to study environmental biology at the Oxford Polytechnic, which is now Oxford Brookes University. After graduating, Emma worked in the NHS for 3 years as a laboratory assistant, research assistant in a clinical immunology laboratory. Emma joined the University of Oxford in 1996 as a scientist. They began manufacturing vaccines for clinical trials in 2005 at the university's clinical biomanufacturing facility, where Emma is now head of production. Since 2005, she has helped produce several vaccines for clinical trials to target diseases including malaria, flu, tuberculosis, hepatitis, prostate cancer, Crohn's disease, meningitis, Zika virus, rabies, plague, and Ebola virus. In April 2020, they finished manufacturing the UK's first COVID-19 vaccine for Oxford clinical trials. This later became known as the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and to date, more than 2.6 billion doses of this has been produced and distributed globally to more than 190 countries. They are now focusing on vaccine production for other emerging diseases. The university honours a Welsh scientist who played a significant role in developing a vaccine for COVID-19. In honouring Emma, we express our sincere gratitude to the scientific community at large, which placed our health and safety first. Your Royal Highness, I present to you Emma Bolam for the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
Noddwr Brenhinol, Your Royal Highness. Leslie John Griffiths, Baron Griffiths of Berryport, is a British Methodist minister, politician and life peer who has served as president of the Methodist Conference. He spent 3 years as an assistant lecturer here in the English department at St David's College, Lampeter, before moving to Cambridge, where he was trained for his ministry whilst completing a degree in theology. His engagement to Margaret was announced here in this very hall at the college ball. And on the stroke of midnight, the band leader, none other than Humphrey Littleton, stopped the music and made the announcement to the delight and wild applause of the whole audience. Lord Griffiths has also preached from the pulpit that John Wesley had once occupied, whilst having a canon stall in St Paul's Cathedral and a seat in the House of Lords. A royal flush is how he has described that combination of roles. A member of the Labour Party, he was an opposition spokesman and whip in the House of Lords from 2017 to 2020. He has written 8 books and he has had a long broadcasting career with the BBC. He was National President of the Boys Brigade until 2020 and has chaired the Board of Directors of the Central Foundation Schools of London. Most of the 1970s was spent serving the Methodist Church in Haiti. his beloved Haiti, as he has called it. He led several programs to combat poverty and improve people's life chances in that country, and remains a leading campaigner for Haiti in the political as well as the non-for-profit sectors. He's awarded a PhD from the School of Oriental and African Studies in the University of London for his work in Haiti. All this has been achieved despite a challenging early life. And at a recent Cynulliad former pupils event, he recalled that he did not eat meat until he was 16 and went to school wearing his friends' cast-offs. He also remembered the impact of the kindness shown him by his teachers and the effect this had on his development. His response has been to follow this example of kindness and support for others during his long, successful and varied career. Eich Noddwr Brenhinol, cyflwyno fi chi yr arglwydd Griffiths a dyfarnwyd iddo radd doethur mewn llên anrhydedd. Your Royal Highness, I present you Lord Griffiths the degree of Doctor of Literature, honoris causa.
Eich Noddwr Brenhinol, Your Royal Highness. Patrick Holden is one of the pioneers of the modern sustainable food movement, who, during his period as Director of the Soil Association between 1995 and 2010, played a key role in developing the UK organic market. Closely involved with standards development, Patrick's extensive engagement with the public through successive media campaigns played a significant role in winning public trust in the products from sustainable agriculture. Before joining the Soil Association, he was founder and chairman of British Organic Farmers, which developed the production base of the organic food movement before merging with the Soil Association in 1995. He trained in biodynamic farming at Emerson College, Sussex, and in 1973, he established what is now the longest established mixed organic dairy holding in Wales. His 135-acre farm, Bwlch y Wernen Fawr, situated above the village of Llangybbi, some 5 miles to the north of Lampeter, produces an award-winning raw milk cheddar-style cheese from the milk of 75 Ayrshire dairy cows. In 2010, he stepped down from the Soil Association to address a newly emerging challenge: the need to develop strategies for sustainable food systems. The resulting organisation, the Sustainable Food Trust, is a charitable organisation that strives for a better food and farming system for both people and planet. We've been depleting the balance sheet of nature for 100 years, Patrick once said, adding, now we have to restore it. He is slightly more optimistic about the future these days, with a resurgence of public interest in sustainability, which he describes as a new energy. Patrick's work and inspiration have been instrumental in the University of Wales Trinity St David establishing Canolfan Glass on its Lampeter campus, a sustainability and resilience-focused development that will offer new academic provision in food leadership, sustainable food production and rural regeneration as part of the proposed Academy of Contemporary Food Wales. Since his move to Wales in the 1970s, Patrick Holden has been an agent of change, dedicating his life to changing the world of farming for the better. He received a CBE for service to organic farming in 2005, and it's only right and proper that his local university the University of Wales, Trinity St David, should also have an opportunity to honour him and celebrate his strong leadership and unstinting efforts throughout the years. Eich Uchelder Brenhinol, cyflwynaf I chi Patrick Holden, CB, y dyfarnwyd iddo radd doethur mewn gwyddoniaeth anrhydedd. Your Royal Highness, I present you Patrick Holden, CB, for the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa.
Eich Uchelder Brenhinol, Your Royal Highness. Mae'n bleser cyflwyno rhywun sydd wedi cael gyrfa amrywiol fel awdur a newyddiadurwr, academydd a chyhoeddwr. Your Royal Highness, it's a pleasure and indeed a privilege to introduce someone who has had a varied career as writer and journalist, academic and publisher. After childhood spent in Wales, England, post-war Germany and Switzerland, Ned Thomas read English at New College, Oxford. Multilingual, he later taught literature for 4 years at the University of Salamanca in Spain and was a visiting professor at Moscow State University in the days of the Soviet Union. Not content with a career in academia, for several years he was a London journalist, working for titles as diverse as the Times Educational Supplement and later the British government's Russian language quarterly Anglia. However, it was the call of Gwalia that led to his return to Wales and to the English department at the University of College, Wales, Aberystwyth. There he taught and founded the cultural magazine Planet. It was a periodical that, true to his own vision and experience, would become subtitled The Welsh Internationalist. He would be its editor for 15 years, before then becoming the director of University of Wales Press. Today, Planet, where he remains a patron, continues to offer what it describes in his own words as an independent approach to the culture and politics of Wales and the world. Ned Thomas's work embodies academic publications in comparative literature. In them, defined by that independent spirit and reflection on the politics of both Wales and the world, you will find studies of the work of authors, poets and playwrights, as diverse as George Orwell, Waldo Williams and Derek Walcott. 2 volumes stand out. The Welsh Extremist, subtitled A Culture in Crisis, described as an emotionally, politically and personally charged examination of the forces bearing on Welsh language culture. It was influential in the late decades of the 20th century, and I dare say influential on the lives of many of us here in this university. More recently, his memoir, Bydoedd, Cofniant Cyfnod, was designated as a Welsh Language Book of the Year. In its pages, and resonant of the experiences of the young boy living alongside the displaced citizens of the post-war era, can be found a focus on social and political life, but not seen through the eyes of the historian alone, but through the eyes of a keenly observant novelist, an author of shared humanity, rendering in sharply defined reality the individual lives of people and their particular times and places. Active in the Welsh language movement of the 1970s and with a passion and belief in the linguistic rights of minorities at a European level, he became the founder director of one of the 4 Mercantor centres. The Mercator Institute in Aberystwyth is now home to Wales Literature Exchange and also to Literature Across Frontiers. It is located within the University of Wales Trinity St David's Centre for Advanced Welsh and Celtic Studies. It continues, thanks to his initial work and commitment, to work to the spirit of the Kuiper's resolution and to create the conditions for the preservation and development of regional and minority cultures and languages. Chwaraeodd ran flaenllaw yng Ngweithgaredd Biwro Ewropeaidd ei Ieithoedd Llai, ac roedd hefyd yn aelod o pwyllgor drafftio ar gyfer datganiad BA eang hawliau ieithyddol. Cydnabyddir felly Ned Thomas i faes ieithoedd llefrifol Ewropeaidd felly, nid yn unig yma gyda ni heddiw yn Llanbed, ond yn rhwngwladol. Eich Uchelder Brenhinol, cyflwyno fi chi Ned Thomas, y dyfarnwyd iddo roedd doethyr mewn llên arhynnydd, Your Royal Highness. I present to you Ned Thomas for the degree of Doctor of Literature, honoris causa.
Uchelder Brenhinol, dyma ddod â'r seremoni hon i ben I ddyfarnu graddau'r brifysgol. Your Royal Highness, we now bring this convocation to a close by singing the two national anthem.